Hello friends, this is Terry Smith, Purchasing Specialist for the Lake Stevens School District. I'd like to talk to you today about purchase orders, also referred to as POs. These are the official documents that our district issues to a seller for the sale of specific products or services to be delivered in the future. The main advantage of using a purchase order is the ability to place an order without immediate payment. In order for a purchase order to be used, the office professional will first need to verify that a vendor will accept one. Some vendors will only accept payment by credit card. If a vendor does accept purchase orders and the amount of the order is $50 or greater, please enter a PO. The district prefers the use of purchase orders over credit cards as they are easier to track. Also, the district has more recourse if an order is damaged upon delivery or if it is incomplete. If a vendor isn't in our vendor file, the office professional will need to request that a W-9 is forwarded to the purchasing specialist. This will be attached to the vendor file in Skyward, and it is important in determining tax status. The current order and payment address will also need to be sent to the purchasing specialist. Upon receipt, the vendor will be set up in the vendor file in Skyward, ready for your selection. A vendor may require that a credit application is filled out. Please send these to Accounts Payable Department for processing. For detailed instructions on entering a purchase order in Skyward, click on the question mark on your Skyward dashboard. When entering a purchase order, there are many things to take into consideration. One of the most important is whether the order total will exceed bid thresholds. Please refer to the Procurement Requirements Matrix on our Employee Resources Business Services webpage to assist you with determining whether you will need to get quotes, go out for bid, or piggyback off of an existing contract. Keep in mind that there are different thresholds for state and federal funds. If purchasing off of another organization's contract, you will need to reference the contract ID or number in the body of the purchase order and attach the quote referencing the contract number to the PO in Skyward. Contact the purchasing specialist and they will walk you through how to go about doing this. Another good reference to keep handy when entering a purchase order is the account code guide. The current guide can be found on our Business Services Employee Resources webpage along with OSPI's valid account code tool. If you don't have access to an account code in Skyward, please use the tool to determine if the code is valid. If it is valid, contact Alina Holmquist, Accounting Supervisor, and she will add the account code into the chart of accounts. When you enter the purchase order, you will want to indicate whether tax will need to be included. Many vendors will invoice us without including tax, but in Washington State we are required to pay sales tax on taxable items. Please contact the purchasing specialist if you are unsure of whether an item is taxable. If shipping is being charged, you will want to enter that as a separate line item in the body of your purchase order. Include in the body of your purchase order a description of what is being purchased. This will assist the purchase order approvers in determining whether it is an allowable purchase, and also whether the item will need to be tagged for inventory purposes. When purchasing furniture, please check our district surplus. Quite often we already have the item that you need. There are different rules to follow when purchasing with federal funds. Regardless of the dollar amount being spent, you must document equitable distribution and reasonable price. Indicate this on the approved invoice before submitting to accounts payable for payment. For purchases of $25,000 or more, you will need confirmation that the vendor isn't suspended or debarred from federal programs. This needs to happen prior to making the purchase. One method for doing this is to check the sam.gov website. This is not the most user-friendly website, so if you're having issues locating the vendor, please contact the purchasing specialist for assistance. Other options for checking for suspension and debarment are requesting a suspension and debarment certification form from the vendor or requiring the vendor to sign a clause on our purchase order. A couple of other reminders when issuing a purchase order. Both the front and back of the vendor copy, which is the white copy, of the PO should be sent to the vendor. On the back of this copy are the district's terms and conditions. Please keep in mind when placing an order whether delivery will take place over a holiday or summer break. If there won't be anyone available to accept delivery at your site, you will need to indicate to the vendor when delivery will be possible. The other option is having the order delivered to the district warehouse at the ESC. Upon receipt of the order, the courier will transport the items to your school. One final reminder. For budgeting purposes, it is recommended that you review your open purchase orders on a quarterly basis. If a purchase order has been fulfilled but is still in open status, please email the purchasing specialist to let them know that it can be closed. Or if you have the yellow receiving copy of the PO, sign it and send it in. If a purchase order needs to be increased or decreased, email or interoffice a signed requisition to the purchasing specialist. Here's a list of contacts you may want to refer back to. Thanks for your time today, and I hope you have a great 21-22 school year.